So, your last season with Mercedes, 2013, Nico Rosberg versus Lewis Hamilton. And of course, they've both been with the team for 3 more seasons since then. They're now in their 4th together. The last 3 seasons, we've had Lewis ahead in the championship, winning the championship just in front of Nico for 2 years. And now it's the other way around. Let's just have a chat about the 2 drivers, starting with their characters and how they work with the team.
Well, I think first of all to say that for 2 drivers to work together 4 seasons in such a sort of competitive position does actually tell you a bit about the drivers. I mean, they're both realistic in their approaches, but they are different. And there's a perception, I think it's fairly true, is that Lewis is probably a little bit quicker, a little bit higher level of natural talent. But that doesn't take anything away from Nico. Nico is hugely talented as well. It's just this nth degree. But Nico, I think, probably has better application, which then compensates for it. So that's why they've been so closely tied at times. Because Lewis sort of, and these are tiny differences. Lewis, I think, is just that touch quicker, more natural driver. And Nico is an engineer, and he kind of looks at things more methodically in a more pragmatic way. Sometimes to his detriment, maybe he doesn't let his emotions come out as much. Both great characters, both great team members, and we all see the tantrums or perceived tantrums from outside the team, but actually within the team, certainly when I was there, and I think it's continued, they're very professional racing drivers, they're very committed. Lewis is, people comment on his lifestyle, but he trains like mad. He thinks about racing all the time. It's perception and also degree. I mean, Lewis goes to a few nightclubs and suddenly he's having a playboy lifestyle. Nobody sees the 4 to 6 hours training he does every day without exception. And you can see it. He finishes a race and he's fit and he's in good shape.
What about the technical side of it? Which of them, if either, has an edge technically in terms of the ability to, not just to read the car, read the track, but also to feed that back to the team?
I think every driver is different, and it's part of the challenge for the team and the skill of the team to know the driver and therefore know how to interpret what they say. There's no doubt that Nico could probably give you a more eloquent explanation of something, but that doesn't mean that Lewis can't give you the information. Lewis will explain what the car's doing, but maybe leave you to draw the next step of the conclusion that Nico is tempted to give you as well. And that can be helpful or it can be unnecessary. But all drivers now have changed in that they all want to look at the data before they tell you what the car's doing. And this modern generation of drivers who have come through on simulators and have come through with the level of data acquisition and analysis that goes on. They're not like the old days where they'd give you a debrief over the radio of what the car's doing. They say, show me, give me the laptop, let me have a look at. And I think in a way it's not a negative process because they don't need to register that information. It's unnecessary because it's all there on the screen. But they can recall what's happening when they look at the screen. So they look at the screen, they can see they had a little snap oversteer in a corner, they had to correct it. And they no longer need to remember that. They may remember it, but they don't have to remember it because they just go through their lap. They say, right, yeah, I had that snap oversteer there. I remember that, we've got to do that. Whereas a few years ago, a driver had to have total recall of everything that went on in a lap, and you often wondered whether he was remembering it properly because it was, go to a long circuit with 15, 20 corners, and how can they remember exactly what happened at every corner? So they are subtly different, but they're not differences at each end of the scale. There's kind of, one's a little bit different than the other, but
near the middle.
Yeah.
Although they're extremely good drivers. Now, what about this championship? So I'm sure people want to know. We just finished the Japanese Grand Prix. Nico has extended his lead. He's now 33 points ahead. 4 races to go, which is still a lot of points. A little, 100 if you won all of them.
Yeah.
What do you think? Are you prepared to have a punt on it?
qualified punt, I'd say that Nico will win it bearing anything unusual, because I mean he's driving exceptionally well, I think in the last couple of years last couple of championships he had little spells when he looked special, but this year he's been dominant at a lot of races, and. Okay, Lewis managed to catch up in the middle of the year, but what's been impressive is Nico's resurgence from there. And he seems to have the impetus with us. But, historically, there's been occasions when something has happened. Nico has one retirement, Lewis wins, and it's getting back on again, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
I can't, I think everything being normal, Nico will win, but Formula One is rarely normal.
Never normal.
And either one deserves it. I mean, that's the great thing about this year. Whoever wins the championship this year, you'd have to say they deserve it. Nico for his sort of constant application and success, and Lewis for the show he's given us and the whole thing.